Thank you so much for being here today on this beautiful day. My name is Alice Willman, and I am proud to be a part of Athens Immigrant Rights Coalition and proud to welcome you all today to be a part of our press conference announcing our rapid response team. Our community here in Athens is under threat. Our neighbors are under threat. You have read the news. If you're on social media, you know that there have been policies that are deliberately targeting our neighbors, especially our immigrant neighbors. And these policies and the people that are promoting them are intentionally trying to sow fear and division in our community. That's what they want. They want us to be scared, and they want us to turn on one another. The antidote to fear and division is connection. And that is why we are here. We are here to try and mobilize in support of our neighbors and stand up to keep our community whole. So Athens Immigrant Rights Coalition, along with many other organizations all across the United States, has formed a rapid response team. We have almost 100 members now. Almost 100 members. Can we have some applause for that? That's 100 people. 100 people, all kinds of people from different racial backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, who speak different languages, who come from different socioeconomic statuses, who have different jobs, who have busy lives, and who are very much rooted in this community. But we have one common motivation, and that is that we believe our community is better when we stay together. And we believe our community is better when it is diverse and when we have more different kinds of people in it. And we believe that our job is to keep each other safe. And we will not be divided by the narrative and the rhetoric. So our rapid response team now has almost 100 members, as I said. And what we do is we mobilize to nonviolently observe and witness ICE and federal immigration enforcement activity in our community. And we support the people who are being targeted by that activity. That's what we do. And we're not the only ones. We're connected with groups all over the country who are also doing this. So we now have, we've trained almost all of our members to take on 3 different roles. So this is kind of how it goes, right? We have first responders who are monitoring the community, monitoring what's going on in the community. We have a lot of proximity to the immigrant community through Dignidad Inmigrante and through other organizations and through just people that we're connected with. And so when we hear a report that there might be ICE activity or other immigration enforcement activity here in our community, the first responders go out and they verify what's going on and they see if we need to mobilize. And if we need to mobilize, then the next people to get to the scene are trained as legal observers. And you will see them. They'll be wearing yellow vests, like the vests that you see now on our marshals, but they say legal observer on the back. And those folks are trained in documenting and observing the activity that's going on and trying to ensure that people's rights to due process and their civil rights and all their rights are respected, because everybody has rights. Everybody has rights. It doesn't matter how you came to this country. It doesn't matter whether you have the right papers or not. You are a human being. You have rights. And the third group of people that we have trained are trained as what we call agitators. And they are there to support the people being targeted by the activity, to remind them of their rights, to show them that they are not alone, to show them that we are watching, to show them that we do not agree with what's being done to them. And so those are the 3 kinds of groups that show up. And the basic message that we have for the community and for the presidential administration and for immigration authorities is that whatever you do here in Athens, we are watching. We are watching. We are documenting it. We are going to make sure that you're following the law. If you're not following the law, you're going to hear about it. And we're connected to national organizations that are also watching and documenting. So the activities here in Athens will not go unchallenged. They will not go unchallenged. Show me the warrant, he says. So you might see us out in the community. You might also see us out canvassing, because another thing that we're doing is we're making sure that everyone knows what their rights are and that everyone knows how to respond if they are confronted by law enforcement or immigration enforcement officials in our community. And that's another way that we can keep each other safe. So thank you again for being here. And now I want to invite Reverend Pippin Whitaker from the Interfaith Clergy Partnership of Greater Athens to come speak.
Good afternoon, everybody, or is it morning? I don't even know. It's the middle of the day. It's good afternoon. I'm Reverend Pippin Whitaker. I am the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Athens, and I see a lot of my people out here. I got to appreciate you. I'm also the vice chair, not the chair of vice, but the vice chair of the Interfaith Clergy Partnership of Greater Athens, and I get to be here representing both organizations in the roles that I serve. I will say that the Interfaith Clergy Partnership is a multi-religious group that fosters relationships among diverse religions in this community and fosters relationships among the broader community, and that includes relationships with our immigrant neighbors. And the UUFA, the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Athens, is a house of faith that includes diverse people, diverse beliefs, backgrounds, ages and stages, identities, and races, all committed to a mission to build inclusion, embody spirit, serve justice, and grow love in this world. And when we say build inclusion, we mean for everyone. We include our immigrant members and our immigrant neighbors. And our vision of this community, I do not think is that different than your vision. Our vision is of a welcoming community of diverse people, celebrating our diversity, understanding our strength in our diversity, and celebrating and supporting of everyone's right to a full and flourishing human's life. And the rights that we have, let's be clear, these are the laws of the land. It is not the law of where you were born. It is not the law of how much money you have. It is not the law of what color your skin is or what your gender identity is. It is certainly not the law of what your status is in terms of documentation. It is the law of the land. Everyone here has rights. Our vision is of a community that protects one another, that takes care of one another, and ensures that we can all flourish. When someone in this community is hurting, when someone is in danger and fearful, our vision is that at base, the fundamental is that we show up for one another. Why am I clapping for myself? I'm clapping for you because you're applauding for the basic, that we will show up for one another. And that is why we are so grateful to the Athens Immigrant Rights Coalition for their initiative, their resourcefulness, their relationship building to build the rapid response team, because you are helping us live our values to transform this community. We may never have achieved the vision that we have of this community if we long for a diverse Athens that supports everyone's flourishing, that shows up for one another as neighbors. That's just getting in my way. If we long for this, just because we haven't achieved it yet does not mean we shouldn't keep pursuing it. But let us be clear that we are not there. I know people are scared. I hear people that are scared to come to our congregation because they don't know what ICE might do. Can they even go out in public? And I will say that for right now, because the Unitarian Universalist Association, along with many other congregations, was part of a lawsuit against the Trump administration because of that specific executive disorder. I call it that's my term. It is I can't help but call it an executive disorder. Okay, that's my term. Because of that lawsuit, a judge has temporarily put a stay on ICE's following that order for Unitarian Universalist congregations. But it's not enough that it's just our house of worship or just a few houses of worship in Athens. It needs to be everywhere. And the way that we get it to be everywhere, is that it gets to be everyone's job to defend our community, to ensure that neighbor is taking care of neighbor, that neighbor knows they belong here with one another. That is how we do it. The transformation that we seek in this world was never going to come. It was never going to come from a leader that we elected, although a leader could be helpful. It was never going to come from a law. It was certainly never going to come from anything we bought or sold. It was always going to come from us showing up for one another and living our values out loud by showing our care. So no matter what happens, let us know that this is the foundation, this is the fundamental work of building the world that we dream of. Let us support the Athens Immigrant Rights Coalition, be part of the rapid response team. You can be part of it by showing up, by showing your support, by supporting their organization, or you can pursue the training and figure out what your role might be. But you can also turn to your neighbor, to the person that you cross on the street, to smile, to greet people, to bring somebody dinner if they need it. There are all kinds of things that you can do to help us transform Athens. We do not have to be afraid. We do not have to hide. One thing that lawsuit shows us is that when we stand up to hate, when we fight for our rights, for the laws of this land, it can work. We can make a difference. It matters. So let's keep on making it matter. Let's keep on making Athens the great place that it can be. Let's fulfill the promise of the place where neighbor cares for neighbor, where we ensure that no human being is illegal. No human being is going to be taken away in the night, torn away from their children. No human being is going to be stolen from our community. Let it be. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Whitaker. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Reverend Whitaker, for those important words, those reminders that living our values out loud is an act of resistance. It is an act of resistance today just to show up for your neighbor. I can't believe it, but it is. That's the minimum. At this point, I would like to invite, if there's any of you that are here from the Rapid Response Team and you would like to maybe speak a little bit about why you decided to join us, you're welcome to come to the mic. Sure.
I'm Tommy York. I'm a local citizen, and we are here to support all of our neighbors, to be to observe what's going on in our community so that people can feel safe, feel that they have the freedom to move about their community, to go to work, to go to school, to go shopping, and to not be afraid. So we join together to work together in that work of observation, observing, documenting, supporting, educating, and right now it's a phase, I think, of community education. We need to spread the word to everybody in our community that they need to be aware of their rights and they need to stand on their rights, to go about their lives with freedom, and to also share this message with their neighbors so that we can be informed if there is any kind of enforcement activity. We just want to be sure that the enforcement activity is legal and respects the rights of citizens, rights of every person that is in our community. If people don't know their rights, it's easy for them to become victim of something that they don't understand. And so we want to spread the word, share that support, do our work of observing, and get to the other side of this difficult time. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you. Anyone else with the rapid response team want to share a little bit about why you think it's important to be part of this?
Yay.
I was hoping you would come up.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? So I joined the rapid response team a couple of weeks ago, and I think it's important just because for me, it really helped me see how much the community cares about my people. It was really emotional, actually. Yeah. My first meeting, I was asked what I learned, and I said that I learned that, after the election, that I wasn't alone in how I felt, the fear and all the antagonizing. It was horrible. And when I said that, Beto, actually, one of the leaders of the group, he told me to stand up, and he had everybody hug me. These are like 30 to 40 people all hugging me and telling me that I was being listened to and that they cared. They really care for our people. That's why I love Athens, because you guys really care. I mean, look at how you show up. So, thank you.
Thank you, Jalen. Thank you. Actually, Jalen, that made me think of something that I meant to say and forgot. So thank you for this. That the rapid response team, like other rapid response teams around the country, we take direction from the communities that are affected by these policies. We don't just make our own rules and decide what we're doing. We actually are very much, because a lot of us are in bodies like mine, a white body, male, female, but a lot of us are in more privileged positions in society. And so we need to make sure that we are always taking direction from immigrant-led organizations like Dignidad Inmigrante here in Athens. So that is always our first concern, is that we are there when we mobilize at a scene. We are there to support the person who is probably having one of the worst days of their life. Right? That is the most important thing. It's not about us. It's not about our agenda with our own government or what we're angry about. It is about supporting that person and letting them know that they are not alone, and what is happening to them is not going to go unchallenged. We have to do this for each other. We have to do this for each other, because if we stop doing that for each other, then anything can happen. We know that human beings are capable of obscene evil when they think no one is watching, or when they think no one is paying attention. We have to pay attention. Attention is power. And we have our attention. We still have that. They haven't taken that away, and they can't. Anyone else want to share that's joined the rapid response team? Or are there any questions about what we do that we can answer? What do we do? So we mobilize, the rapid response team mobilizes to observe and witness, document the activity of immigration enforcement in our community, and support the people that are being targeted by it. So we're in touch with the community. We know when we get reports that there might be authorities here conducting deportations or detentions with the intent of deportation. We mobilize to the scene. We use legal observation methods to document with a neutral, as neutral legal observers. And then we also provide support to the people who are being targeted. Let them know that they have rights. Let them know what their rights are. And also let them know that what's happening to them is being watched. We want to make sure that the rights are respected and that laws are followed. We don't need to be attorneys to be present, although we may call attorneys to be present. And definitely attorneys get involved in the support that happens after. But legal observers are not necessarily attorneys. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to mention is that part of Athens Immigrant Rights Coalition is another group called Support for Immigrant Families in Crisis. So if you're wondering what happens after the detention. We have wraparound support and accompaniment that we provide to the people that are affected by the detention. And so that group of us will reach out to the family members or whoever's left to see what kind of needs they have. And as you can imagine, when someone in your family or your household is detained, it's a huge burden. It's an economic burden. It's an emotional burden. You lose someone, you're worried about them. You need to get legal support. You need to pay the rent. You need to keep the lights turned on. And so part of our role is to make sure that the family has that kind of support in that crisis and can get this and can meet their basic needs. How do people connect? This is a great question. So you can connect to us individually through myself. I'm Alice Willman. My name is on the press release, or we can talk after this. Beto Mendoza and Noe, who I don't think is here, and Adelheid also, she's a marshal right now. Raise your hand, Adelheid. We are the co-coordinators of the Rapid Response Team, so you can connect with any of us. You can also get in touch on the Athens Immigrant Rights Coalition website, which if you just Google it. Thank you. Yes? Yeah. Go ahead and say something now. Yeah, please.
Yeah. I'm thinking, there's a lot of supporters here, and some of you are engaged already in the Rapid Response Team, and some of you are thinking, well, that's not something I can do, or I'm not sure. Maybe you'll find out, and you'll go to a meeting. Going to a meeting just means you're finding out, right? It doesn't mean you're doing anything but enriching yourself and finding out what your opportunities are. So don't be shy about going to the meeting. But I want to invite you into a deeper invitation to how you might think about this moment in our lives. Each of us is having a different experience of this moment, and yet it's such a powerful shared moment. It's going to reach and reverberate far beyond now and far beyond you. So I want to invite you to think about how you engage in this moment, what it is you show up to do, by asking yourself a slightly different question than you might be asking yourself. And I know I might be making assumptions about your thoughts, but if you're like me, maybe one of your thoughts is, what do I have the bandwidth to do so that I can do something and not become overwhelmed and then end up shutting down and not be useful to anybody, right? Or not be useful to my loved ones, my dependents, and all of that. So you're trying to think about your balance, and that is an important thing to think about. Maybe you're thinking about what you actually feel capable of doing, whether it's physical capability or emotional, or, the sense of, would I have the courage to show up and do something? So you're thinking about your abilities, your capabilities, and those are good things to think about. But I want to invite you to think about another question. What would I want the generation to come to be grateful that I did? What would I want the generations to come to be grateful that I did now in this moment? Because your moment of power on this earth feels so small. You feel like there's so little you can do to address a big, big problem that we're in. But you don't know the power that you have. Your moment of power is just beginning. The next generation, the generation after that, your power, what you do can reverberate through the ages. What you do can change one person's life that then changes thousands. You cannot control it. So you have to ask yourself, with this possibility that anything I do could be transformative, what is it that I would want the future generations to love that I did today? Give yourself your full potential, not just the small moment you're in now, but think about the generations to come. In this style of question, I need to acknowledge that I get this way of thinking by learning about then the little bit that I have of the indigenous peoples from whom we inherited unjustly this land, the people who lived here and tended this land for millennia, many of whom had a frame of thinking about the 7 generations to come. So let us take that kind of wisdom and understand our power. Understand your power when you are thinking about your balance. What can I do and stay balanced? And what do I have the capability to do? Think also, what would I love to give to the new generations? What would I want them to be grateful that I did today? Because you are far more powerful in this moment than you realize. And your lack of balance, lack of bandwidth, limited capabilities are just other ways of talking about your radical possibility. Own your power and use it wisely.
Thank you. We all needed that, right? And limited bandwidth is part of the thing by design too, right? They're trying to keep us on social media all the time, keeping us so scared, reading the news, keeping us so terrified of everybody that's around us that we don't have any mental energy to think about how we can show up for each other. But I find personally, I get more bandwidth when I connect with other people. I get more bandwidth from being a part of something bigger than myself. I get more bandwidth. My consciousness expands. My body opens up in beautiful ways when I am with you and when I'm with my neighbors who are experiencing terrible things right now. So I invite everyone to be a part of this as you feel able and as you feel called. You can join our rapid response team. We would love to have you. Definitely the more the merrier, the more powerful, right? And there are other ways to get involved. We have other subcommittees within Athens Immigrant Rights Coalition. We meet monthly. Our next meeting is, does anybody remember? March 21st. March 21st is our next meeting, Friday afternoon at Oconee Street United Methodist. You can come and plug into any of the committees there, and you can always donate. If you don't have any bandwidth, it doesn't take any time at all to push a button and send some money, and the money is going to go straight to this work. The money also goes to people who are experiencing detention and deportation through support to immigrant families in crisis. So, we'll use it. We'll use it right away for things that you care about. Would anyone else like to come up and share? I can kind of do open mic now. We don't have any more people. Yeah? Please.
My name's Mike Patton. This isn't about the good work you guys are doing, but it's related. Tomorrow there's a national boycott. Don't spend any money tomorrow. If you need anything, get it today. If you have to spend money, spend cash in small businesses. But we can demonstrate that we have economic power as well. And when you hit businesses and these people in their pocketbook, they will pay attention. It's coming from an ex-business agent with the Teamsters. I know this well. So tomorrow, please, if you don't need to spend anything, please do not. Thank you.
Thank you for that reminder that we are part of something bigger. This is national. There's people like us all over the country asking the same questions and having the same feelings about what's going on. We are not alone. We are not alone, and we can show our power. So don't spend any money tomorrow unless it's cash or local businesses. Good. In fact, you could go to a Pinewoods fundraiser tomorrow for Dignidad Inmigrante. I'm not remembering the address right now, but the flyer, maybe somebody can help me, has been going around. If you wanted to spend some cash on a good cause, you could go buy some wonderful, tamales and other amazing food from Mexico and El Salvador, and support this too. There's one on Friday and another one on Saturday. Yeah. Anyone else? Please come. Are we doing the red card program? Yes. When we do canvassing, we use what everybody calls the red cards, the Know Your Rights cards. We're trying to get as many of those out in the community as possible. Yeah, knowing your rights is power, and we all have rights. Yes. Well, come here. Okay. Any other questions or anything anybody else would like to add to our conversation? Yes, please. say your name when you start speaking.
Hello, everyone. My name is Trey Holloway. I am a organizer here in Athens. I'm glad to join y'all here in the Athens Immigrant Rights Coalition. I just wanted to speak more to the strength of collective power that we as people have. It's very important, especially in this time when there is a lot of fear, there is a lot of uncertainty. People don't understand the attacks that are happening on our neighbors, on our immigrant neighbors, on our LGBTQ neighbors, on our Black neighbors. But I just want to remind everyone to always keep in mind, like, we have strength in numbers. I'm remembering something that happened here on these very steps earlier this month. A massive rally for immigrants' rights. And I'm remembering even further back, a year from now, when, there was a tragic murder in our town. And, political people came to our city to use this tragedy to push an anti-immigrant agenda. And I remember feeling that, although we were small, we were still out there. We were still out here. But I was so happy earlier this month to see how our numbers have grown, how we've outnumbered the anti-immigrant hatred and those people who have those ideas of hatred. And, just to look around today, we are the people who support immigrant rights. We are people who are progressive, who understand that these attacks on our immigrant neighbors are just distractions. We understand that, the real enemy is not anyone who comes here seeking a better life, but it's the people who destroy our planet. It's the people who oppress Black people, who oppress LGBTQ people. And when I look around here today, I see, there is no one out here opposing us. No one is out here chanting at us, calling us names or anything. And that shows you that the majority of people in this country do support immigrants. And like us, they understand these same issues. They can connect these same issues. And again, just speaking to it again, the power of collective strength. A big part of the Trump administration and these attacks on our democratic rights is to make us feel afraid, to make us feel powerless. But we're not powerless. I want to let y'all know something that's even the Trump administration is saying. Tom Hooman, the person they're calling the, quote, border czar. He's actually going out here doing interviews and saying to people at CNN, people on Fox, that, all these people doing these Know Your Rights trainings, all these people who are organizing around immigrants' rights, they're really throwing a wrench in our plans of mass deportations. This is what they're saying openly, and you can also see it in the data. Trump has actually failed in his goal of mass deportations. And I think that's something all of us here should be proud of here today. When we came out here and said that we're going to stick up for our immigrant community, we meant it, and we're actually doing it. Every single thing that we do, every single conversation that we have, every flyer that we pass out, every bit of knowledge that we give to our brothers and sisters in the immigrant community and outside of the immigrant community are helping fight, are helping resist these mass deportations and attacks on working class people. So again, I just wanted to remind y'all, of the strength that we have. Although it may seem like, sometimes we may not have strength just as individuals, we really do when we come together. Anything is possible. Not to be cliche, but anything is possible when we're coming together and fighting collectively. But with that, I just want to hand the mic back over and thank y'all for letting me speak. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Trey. And thank you for that reminder that, today, right now, we're focused on our immigrant neighbors, but many of our neighbors are under threat. If you're LGBTQ+, if you are, basically if you're not white and male, you're under attack right now. And so this rapid response team, yes, we formed us, in the beginning we have formed to document immigration enforcement activity, but there's no reason we can't also mobilize to show up if we need to for other people in our community that are under threat. Right? And thank you for being here, Trey, and for the work that you do. Yes, please. Here comes Beto Mendoza, y'all.
¿Cómo están? I was telling the reporter, Mario Guevara, that you speak Spanish. So when I say, ¿Cómo están? You say bien, okay? Just pretend to you speak Spanish. ¿Cómo están? No los oigo. Oh, again, you can say bien. Bien, bien. One more time. ¿Cómo están? No los oigo. Digan fuerte. Oh no, when I say digan fuerte, you say fuerte. No, I'm just kidding. He was asking me, where's the community? I don't see brown people, but he didn't see over there. And also, I think if you stay here enough, you're gonna become a little bit brown. Also, that after that they deport all the people who work in the fields, you're gonna be brown. The fear, the doctrine of shock, the book they have to paralyze and tell me if I'm too fast or you don't get it, because it's important for me that my message get through. The doctrine of shock is that book they use, the agencies, CIA, FBI, when they interrogate people. So when police come in a rally, they separate people and they put it and see them sit down, looking down, then people is not connected. It's important for them that the migrant community is scared. Migrant community has been scared for many years. And we know about the fear, the graded fear. I mean, I'm not talking about this orange beast or beautiful, great, amazing orange Cheeto we have as a leader. I don't have any respect for people like that, especially because they don't have respect for me. They dehumanize me. They dehumanize my family. They don't even recognize the beautiful contribution of my culture. I mean, you cannot deny that Athens will be horrible without tacos and pupusas and cumbia and all of us walking around. I mean, we are beautiful people. You are beautiful people. Anyway, that doctrine of shock, and the reason I think is that fear is so effective that we learn it because for fear, we left behind our community, our family, our kids, our love, our beautiful land, our chickens. I mean, we were poor, but we walk outside and drink the water from the freaking river. You do that here and you die next day. So we know that the fear, in order to achieve the American dream, which is overrated, there's a nightmare. In order to achieve that, we have to expose ourselves to cross 3, 4, 2 borders. Be exposed to the police, to be kidnapped, to be trafficked for organs. Who can afford an organ? Who can afford my heart right here, my liver? Who wants to buy it? I mean, who buy that thing? Who is the other person in the market? You know? We don't. I mean, we don't want to buy that part from a children who was kidnapped when he tried to escape poverty. People escape, the drug cartels, but by the way, they were trained by this country. The weapons are being sold by this country. And the drugs are being consumed by this country. So the doctrine of shock, the fear is so effective. But you know what also? That is not only from the time I have in this earth, 50 years or so. It's been for more than the 500 years. This is colonizing practice, what these people is doing, not only here, all over the places, the way they treat us. One of the news I expected, but it still give me shock. One is ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, walking inside the Navajo Nation territory and asking papers to Navajo people. That is incredible. The violations of the civil rights and the constitutional rights we allow to this institution is jumping to others, to American citizens. That is important, that taken in consideration. So yeah, the fear. And finally, well, maybe I'm in fear, you know. I fear the skinheads and their weapons and their guns and Guantanamo and all these practices these people have. But you know, whatever, I only have one life, and I'm gonna use that fear to don't repeat that oppression with my fellow female compañeras. I'm gonna be in a life for all the compañeras. I'm gonna be in a life for LGBTQ plus two-spirit people. I wanna be alive for Black people. I wanna use the little power I have to protect their rights. I'm here not only for immigrants, but for people's rights, for human rights, constitutional rights. This is what is at stake, our Constitution. Now they say, show me your papers. We say, show me the warrant. I'm gonna say, show me the papers. You're gonna say? Show me the warrant. Show me your papers. Show me the warrant. Now you're gonna say it should be signed by the judge. So show me a warrant. Signed by the judge. Show me. Show me your papers. Show me the warrant signed by the judge. One more time. Show me the warrant signed by the judge. This is what we all have to learn to ask. Show me the warrant.
Show me the warrant. You have the right to remain silent. Remember that one. Thank you, Beto. Thank you for that reminder. Mocha? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, Mocha Jasmine Johnson.
Thank you. I'm not prepared to do a speech today, but I wanted to come out and show our support. So like Beto said, where are the brown people? Where are the Black people? A lot of misinformation and fear causes people to not be involved in movements. Misinformation is kind of rapid right now, and it's destroying our community, it's destroying our country. And what can we do? So I'm always about action. What can we do? One of the first things that I think is very important is for us to understand how to combat misinformation. How can we amplify our voices? So when someone say in Athens, this is happening with the immigrant community, we can also give them the accurate information. So it is very important, and that is something that all of us can do on our own, whether we attend another meeting, whether we rally, march, and support again. Learning the proper information so that you can fight back is very important, because that is, I believe that's what got us in last election cycle, this election cycle, you know. And I have, with my Black community and my friends and the people that we talk to, we were so divided. And it's because of the information that has been put out there. So if we're not going to work on educating ourselves so that we can say, no, that is not correct, this is the proper information, and you actually can find it on this website or this code and this law and these type of things, knowing your rights. What else can we do to support? So that's number one, educating yourself, knowing the proper laws, knowing your rights, so that we can push back on misinformation. Number two is fear. How do we make people feel safe? How are we going to do that? I know that Beto has asked for marshals and different people to learn how to keep people safe, but we're lacking in that area. We need more people. Everybody have a role that you can play. What can we do to help to keep people safe? If someone feels like they have been threatened, where do they go? Who do they reach out to? That kind of information we need to know. Financial support. Even politically, when you're running a campaign, anything you're doing, if you don't have the financial support to put that messaging out, it can get lost. A lot of people get confused. So if you can donate, that would help with messaging. That would help with keeping people safe. And that would help with putting out information to educate people, to host these trainings and workshops. Also, we need to mobilize. We need to go into the communities once we're trained, once we have the proper information. And if we want to see more people involved, we have to go out like it's election time, knocking on doors, telling people don't be afraid, telling people the proper information, telling people why it's important. I'm an immigrant. I know that my mom brought us over here in the 80s. I was about 6 or 7 years old. And I know that process is not easy, and it's even harder today. And the thing that kills me is that America, this country, y'all sold millions of people all across this world a dream of justice and equality. You can live here and have freedom. You can live here and prosper. In these other countries, they don't even have social services. So if you don't have no food, you hungry. If someone is threatening your life and you live in an area that is rapid with violence, you most likely going to die. So some of these people are risking their lives because this country that we live in made a promise. They made people believe it's like a Disney World. Y'all made people believe that if you come here, you will be safe, you would have equality, you will be able to thrive, you'll be able to live. But discrimination is so rapid. Racism is so rapid that even when you're trying to mind your own business and do the right thing, somebody can knock on your door. And if you don't know your rights, pull you out your house. You'll be arrested. You go into the system. And I'm telling you this, when someone is arrested, it's like you could go and scroll down Athens-Clarke County system. You can't find them. I know that for a fact. When somebody's taken from their home and they're put into the jails, it's only about a certain amount of time that their name will still be listed. But once immigration comes in or ICE comes in, it's like they just disappear. It's hard to find or trace them down or get these people back out. So again, I'm here. I'm not speaking for every Black and brown person, but I'm here on behalf of the Athens Anti-Discrimination Movement. We try to build a very diverse movement to where people can belong. Our number one priority is racial and social justice. So I understand what it feels like to be in this situation, not just because I'm a Black woman, but also because I'm an immigrant. So I wanted to let you know, Beto, we do support you. We're going to try our best to do what we can when we can. Send the information over to the movement. We will share it on our website. And I will do what I can when I can to support you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And make sure you get educated, you get involved, and don't leave here and do nothing but go back home.
Thank you, Mocha. Thank you, Mocha, for that call to action, and especially, Mocha, for putting yourself in your body and speaking from your place, your experience. I want to do the same for a second, actually, because I haven't done that yet. I want to speak to you now as a white, middle-aged Christian woman living in Georgia, and talk to you how, because I think some of the things that Reverend Pippin said as well, this is a time when we need to think very carefully and reflect on who we are and what our privilege is and the power that we have because of our bodies and because of where we were born and who we were born to and who came before us, and think, what can we do with what we've got, right? So I can be part of the rapid response team. When I'm walking around in the world, I get a pass most of the time. People take me seriously. Law enforcement does not see me as a threat. So if I'm taking my kid to school and I see something happening, because we don't know how this immigration activity is going to go down, right? It might be big things that happen, like they might raid a chicken plant. That might happen, but most likely it's going to look like it did last time. It's going to be pretty quiet. It's going to be off the radar. They don't want us to see what they're doing. They don't want us watching. So it's going to happen. They're coming, and they're already doing it. They're coming and they're knocking on the door in plain clothes, and they're pretending to be someone who's going to help with their immigration application. And then when somebody opens the door, they are taking them and deporting them. That's what's happening. Or it's going to happen when people are trying to drop their children off at school. Not in the school, probably, on the way to school. It's going to happen at a traffic checkpoint where they're, just checking for drunk drivers. No, they're not. So when you think about if you're in a body like mine, or you're in a body that has privilege, what can we do? Well, if I see something like that happening, I can stop what I'm doing. I can be late to work, and I can get out my phone and I can start recording it. I can call my friends. I can activate the rapid response team and get more bodies there, bodies that are willing and able to take that kind of risk. My body can take that kind of risk. Or if I see a traffic checkpoint, maybe I'll just drive on through, let them pull me over, and take some time finding my license. Maybe my license is in my trunk. Maybe I need to get out of my car, go walk around and get oh my gosh, I forgot I was taking the kids to soccer practice, and I got these kids, can you believe it? They eat so much. I mean, I can take up the time of these officers, right? And just I'm not going to threaten anybody. I'm not in any trouble. And I have time. To do this. Or if I hear about, this is one thing I've been thinking about, ICE is starting to recruit around here. They're doing it at the job fairs. They're there. What if I just show up and I just start asking some questions and making conversation? Stay there for an hour or two. Get these guys talking to me instead of recruiting, right? There's a million ways we can be creative. We can use our privilege, we can use our bodies, and we can use everything that the system gives us. And I'm saying us because I'm talking to you white people now. Everything that the system gives us is a gift that we can use to keep our community intact. We can use it to show up for other people. So I encourage you to, whether you join our rapid response team or whatever you decide to do, think about before you're in the situation what you could do. I have taken a couple of self-defense classes, and they always say, your body will not go where your mind has never been. Say that with me. Your body will not go where your mind has never been. You have got to make your mind go there. We have got to think about the places that we could be, and the things that we might be seeing, and the things that we could be part of, and the way that we can make it harder for the system to do its job. That's what our job is right now, white people. It is to make it harder for the system to function. We're like those nuns in Sound of Music that put the sand in the gears, right? Yeah. Let's do it. Let's be the nuns. All right. Where are we, Beto? More speakers or? Okay. Yes. All right, it's lunchtime. Beto says it's lunchtime. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for everything you do. Have a great rest of your day. Let's keep showing up for each other.